Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. John Kelly Profiler here, and welcome to today's show. I mean, pretty much we're focusing on the investigation of Nancy Guthrie, and the supposed suspect we have of the kidnapping of Nancy Guthrie. We are really honored today to have my friend and colleague Tim Braun on. You've seen Tim on before. Tim is a major. He is major homicide detective. There's no question about it. He's been on the force for 25 years. He's retired now. Of course, he's well known for what he's accomplished. What a lot of people don't know is that he's also been involved in a lot of missing persons through the Center of Missing and Exploited Children. I think I've got that right, Tim, right?
Yeah, Nick Mick.
And, the other thing Timmy is very well known for, he's being a commander of homicide detectives. He also is known for the Charles Cullen case. He and his partner arrested and got an admission out of Charles Cullen, the serial killer nurse in New Jersey. Countless bodies. Nobody knows how many bodies this guy has. I think, Timmy, you've mentioned it's probably into multiple hundreds. I mean, to me, this is like the worst serial killer ever in my atmosphere, okay, in my realm. I mean, I don't think there's anybody that has more bodies than Nurse Cullen, Charlie Cullen, okay? And he's serving life in nice prison, Trenton State Prison down in New Jersey. The other thing is, Timmy not only was able to get a confession out of him, but Timmy was involved in the movie and also involved in making the hospitals take responsibility for passing Charles Cullen around. And it helped hundreds, if not thousands, of families in the New Jersey and metro area, okay, who lost their loved ones to Nurse Cullen at these various hospitals. So, I mean, really, really quite an honor having you. And also, along with the movie The Good Nurse, that is about the arrest of Charles Cullen, Timmy and his partner arresting Charles Cullen. Also, you have a documentary, okay? Timmy stars in a documentary, but he doesn't star in the movie himself. They have an actor portraying him, okay? But, quite an accomplishment, to end a career. And I congratulate you, Timmy.
Thank you.
Really a major accomplishment. So with that all being said, I think we should get on with our show today and see if Timmy can make some sense out of this suspect in the kidnapping and abduction of Nancy Guthrie. I would like to also send from all of us our deepest sympathies out to the Guthrie family and to their friends as well. I mean, this is rough stuff. Hopefully she's still alive. But still in all, we're very sorry for all the trauma you're enduring and going through. With that all being said, Timmy, what do you think? And also, of course, I cannot forget my producer and sidekick, Leah. I mean, she is fantastic. She's always right there. And, Leah, I'm glad you're on today with the two of us. It really, really, really is important. You ask really good questions.
Thank you. Do you guys want me to show a video first before we get into it of the guy?
Sure.
Timmy, it's up to you.
Yeah, sure. Let the audience see it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been plastered all over. So.
Yep. All right. So here we go. This is the guy. You guys see it? Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Some interesting attire. So there he is. And then he goes to grab some grass, correct? I think we got.
Yeah, some sort of shrub-like material.
What's he doing with that? All right.
It's
He thinks he's an interior decorator or something. He's trying to put weeds on a camera.
There we go.
What do you say? What do you say, guys?
well, I will say when this aired yesterday, my wife was nearby, and we kind of watched it together. And as you know, John, my wife's background, and she owned a business for many, many years, a family business, what it was. And that business involved a lot of, I guess, caustic type of chemicals. And the first thing she noticed, and that we notice here in the video, is that glove coming up to the screen. And the first thing my wife said was, "Oh, those look like neoprene gloves, the chemical safety gloves." And I had seen the video a couple times prior to her coming into the room, and was trying to figure it out myself. I did not think of that at all. But once she said that, I do remember, back when she had the business over the years, that her workers would wear these type of gloves to protect themselves from these harsh chemicals that they had to deal with. And, I went online, pulled them up, and lo and behold, they do look similar to that type of a glove. The bulkiness, the thickness of it as it appears in this video. And also with that shiny, glossy, I guess, outside coating that appears in it. Now, I do know that these type of gloves, these neoprene type of gloves, do come in like I did go online and saw that they come in like a matte finish and I guess a glossy type of finish. Now, there are different type of neoprene gloves. These are the type used, for handling these dangerous chemicals. And also, and they are thick, they are like a rubbery type of glove. They are thick, and they do come fitted, and look much like what Leah just posted here. And depending on the style you get, they can, go up as high as almost the elbow. And I think there are a few different styles, you can get them in. There are other neoprene type of gloves that are used for winter wear or skiing. They have a cloth finish. They're like a thermal type of weather glove that are made of a different, like I said, they're more of a fabric type, but they call them neoprene. So I was interested to hear that, because that could be telling. These aren't the type of gloves, if in fact these are the type of gloves that are being used. You don't find them, at a Walmart or something like that. You might find them in a hardware store or a specialty store, and of course online. I would see, it's not the type of glove that most people will buy. Even construction, landscapers, they're not that type of a glove. a work glove, so to speak, either a canvas or leather type of work glove. So, I found that quite interesting. I never would have thought of that, to be honest with you. But so that could be potentially, a lead towards a clue if, in fact, somehow, some way they can determine the type of glove that it is, and it might, lean in this direction. Somebody that works around chemicals. This may be a glove that's issued, like my wife used to do, issued the safety equipment to her employees. So, it could lead to a place of employment potentially, or, the type of work that this person might be involved with. So, it's not the type of glove you normally see with criminals. You may see the rubber glove, the rubber surgical type gloves or something to that effect.
Gloves,
hospital gloves and sanitary gloves, the thin plastic type.
Mm-hmm.
You may see that more often for people trying to conceal their fingerprints, things of that nature. So I found that interesting. And then the ski mask. That seems quite unusual, and to me wouldn't seem like a regular type of item that you might find in the local Walmart or shopping area, since you're in the middle of a desert, and it's generally pretty warm down there, as I understand, especially down towards that end of Arizona, the southern end of Arizona, that Tucson area. So, and that's something interesting also. I don't think there are too many ski resorts in that general area. So, that's something interesting there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I did this video is being filmed in almost like a night vision mode.
Mm-hmm.
That illuminates the area in I'm going to say like an infrared, but I may be wrong with that technical term. But that's the general idea, like night vision with low lighting, so you're not seeing the images in their natural color, their natural state. I mean, you see them, like I said, basically it almost looks like an old black and white picture.
Mm-hmm.
If we, if you were, go back in time, we used to have black and white, but it almost looks something along that line. But this is a night vision and low lighting image that appears. And I think, I know there are programs available and to law enforcement, and I would say especially the FBI, because of their resources, that they could put some color into these images and kind of bring them to life. And not only that, I do think, I do know that these images, because there is clarity, even with the enough clarity, I should say, enough clarity in these images that they could enhance them to, identify makers of the clothing, the jacket, the pants, the footwear, and that backpack, and possibly even the ski mask.
Mm-hmm.
So there are, there is enhancement that they can do to, kind of like bring it to life, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once they can do that, that they could use those enhanced images find out the manufacturer, and actually post those images as they are in, I want to say, real life, in live color, so that people can get a better idea of what they could be looking at. You know, if there's a brand name on the face of the jacket or something to that effect, add a little color to it and enhance the clarity, and then post those images to go along with maybe enhanced facial features.
Mm-hmm.
So those are a few things that I'm picking out, from the physical description. And okay, you know what? Let's maybe we can play questions for each other here, because I can go on with a few things, and I don't want to just.
You're not. It's
I don't
all
want to
great
run amok.
information. All great information.
Yeah, I don't want to just run amok here, but let's
Leah, do you have anything?
Yeah. So, well, Timmy, you mentioned the bag that he had.
Yeah.
Here, I'll put a picture too of that. John and I were talking too before. This thing is filled. Do you have any? What do you guys think is going on there? What does he have in the bag?
Well, if this is a burglar or home invader of some type, backpacks are often used by people who commit, especially residential burglaries. They use these bags to carry their tools of the trade, which are often something along the line of a pry bar, hammer of some sort, screwdrivers, maybe a chisel, and they will load up their backpack with things of that nature, which leaves a lot of room then in the bag normally, depending on the size of the bag, of course, which leaves room for them to fill their bag with the proceeds that they will collect during the course of the burglary or home invasion or something of that nature. But you are right. This bag does appear to be quite full, which is uncharacteristic for a home burglary, in my opinion. Now, he still may have some tools of the trade in the bag, but it does look pretty full with something else, something unknown, whatever that may be. And right now, that's a guessing game, what that could be. Now, it could be, going back to the clothing, oftentimes these type of criminals will layer their clothing. So after they commit a crime, they will, shed their outer clothing to change their appearance, and then, move on from there. Now, it could be also that maybe this bag might contain a change of clothing, but even still, it looks pretty full. I mean, if you were to put a pair of pants and a sweatshirt or something to that effect in a bag, it doesn't seem like it would take up as much room as this bag appears to show. So, in my opinion, it's anybody's guess what could be in the bag, but it does seem unusual if the intent was a residential burglary.
Yeah, I have a hard time with that, too, because usually the tools, like you mentioned, they're going to lay down at the bottom of the bag or whatever.
Right.
this bag's all beefed up, right?
Yes.
So this guy, we're looking at him going in there to rob, right? The only thing we know that was stolen was Nancy Guthrie. She was stolen out of her house, right?
Right.
So whatever else is missing, we don't know. We don't know. I'm not sure of a break-in. I don't know how the guy got in. But the bottom line is, here's a guy going in with a bag full of whatever, and supposedly leaves with Nancy Guthrie in his bag and everything else, right? So you just really, I have to sit back and I have to say to myself, what was his original intent? I believe he knew she was there alone. I believe that he could be a sex offender. In the beginning, they were, I think, peeking at sex offenders, checking that out until this ransom stuff started coming out. He could be a robber and a sex offender. They go together in a lot of cases. I mean, guaranteed, something you brought up earlier too. This guy's got history, right? I mean, there's people that know this guy. There's no question about it. There's all kinds of tips and everything coming in, but this guy definitely, I think, has history of being a burglar and and possibly a sex offender. All I know is the man left. If it is a man, the man left with Nancy Guthrie. Okay, I don't know what else he left with. I don't hear of anything else missing, anything else being stolen except Nancy Guthrie. So what did she mean to him? Was it a ransom situation? That's the first place and most logical place everybody would jump because of the Guthrie family and the how famous Samantha is, okay, and how publicized she is. However, this guy could be, just a run-of-the-mill sex offender who somehow came across Nancy Guthrie. And as you talked about the chemicals or whatever, I mean, did he work around the house? Does he know somebody who worked around the house? Did he work around the pool? You brought up the pool earlier, the chemicals with the pool. I mean, it's all up in the air. It's all up in the air. I mean, Leah, what do you say? You have anything to say on this?
Yeah, well, it's just very interesting to me. And then if you start looking at the guy, what was he thinking? Because he has the gun too. So what was his intention with that? Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Well,
I mean, that's clearly out there. He's not hiding it.
Well, that gun and the way it's positioned is, I've never seen that. I've never seen a weapon in that position on anybody, on anybody on the street level, especially, but just nobody. I mean, that's almost like movie stuff. Pancho Villa and
Cisco Kid.
yeah, Diablo and stuff like that back from the day. I mean that even the old movies of gunslingers and stuff don't wear their weapon like that. Now they will wear a weapon in that way, but tucked inside the pants.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, and this is almost it's not uncommon for people to carry a weapon in that similar position, but tucked inside the pants. Many times you'll see them lift the shirt up, and I'm lifting my shirt up as I'm doing it. Lift the front of the shirt up to expose the weapon, but it's tucked inside the pants.
Mm-hmm.
So, sometimes that'll be used, like I said, it's easy to get to, for one, and it's also easy to show to intimidate somebody. But there again, it's not fully exposed the way this is out in the open. I just never seen it like that. So, and one thing you can pick up with is, the way it's positioned. It's showing or indicating that his strong hand may be right-handed. So that's another, another clue we can maybe go with if we're trying to put together a fuller picture of this person. Now, back to this bag, I did notice, especially when he was first walking up, he had a bit of a forward lean, which to me would seem like there may have been a little bit of extra weight in that backpack, that he was like, in that forward motion, he's got a little bit of a forward lean. Then that can indicate a little extra weight in that bag. So, this, some people have said inexperience. I would agree to some extent there, but I would also consider unprofessional. Yes. I might consider his actions. They were not that of a normal type of a break-in person, a burglar, or someone who has regular experience with breaking into either a residential or commercial dwelling. By his actions, they just didn't come across as deliberate, as if he was like moving into the task at hand, the mission in hand. He wasn't like moving to it. He seemed, I don't want to say lethargic, but did not have, anything behind his movement, which, kind of makes me think that this guy may be high or under the influence also. Now, being under the influence or high doesn't mean he has to be staggering, and falling down, drunk or high or anything like that. He can be, either one of those, high or drunk, and still function, but at a different pace, and that is not uncommon for people committing these types of crimes, especially.
Yeah,
So,
and I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish.
no, go ahead.
When you look at going back just to the gun for a second and the gloves, right? I mean, Timmy, that glove, there's no way that he can pull that gun out with that glove on and use it.
No.
Right? I mean,
No.
there's no, that's just not, that's not going to work. They're not, going to work well together. So he's got to take that glove out to pull that gun out. Now, something you mentioned that was really important. Most of the guys you've run across, and ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you, this is 25 years that this man has been in North Jersey in North Jersey law enforcement, and many, many, many years in homicide, a homicide detective. He's seen it all. Okay, so believe me, he knows what he's talking about. When you look at this, this gun, he has it. When I look at it, I'm saying to myself, this guy wants you to see it. He wants whoever is in that house to see it, because it's all about intimidation, right? I've got here, look at right here. He doesn't have it hidden like most of the guys you were talking about. He doesn't have to pull his shirt up. He has it out. He's brandishing it. He's trying to intimidate with it. So he's trying to use that to get something. So I'm wondering how he's using that to intimidate Nancy Guthrie. What does he want from her? Does he want, where does she have money hidden in the house? I mean, what does he want? Does he want sex? I mean, we've come across, we got to talk about this. He wanted her for something. If it wasn't ransom, it's something else. If it was not money, it could be sexual. We have come across many of these guys that go after older women. They have a fetish for older women for whatever reason. Okay. So I just wonder all about that, especially when I see him leading in with that gun to intimidate. I mean, it looks like he's sure he's going to run into somebody and he wants him to see that gun. He doesn't have it covered over, and it's a gun he can't easily access because of the gloves. So that's like a newbie in a way, that's like somebody that's not sophisticated. It's really amateurish, right? I mean, in a way, you know better than me, but I got to tell you, this is not the first time I've seen a person, try to, grab an older woman and abscond with her, if you will, to another area, to the second place, if you will. There's just no question about it. I don't know what this guy was after. I wish I knew what was in that backpack. Leah, do you have any feelings on this?
Yeah, I just look at the guy and I think he watched a movie and thought, let me dress up like this. And, that's what I think it looks like. But the other thing I keep thinking about, what are your thoughts on him grabbing the plant and trying to put it in front of the camera?
That leads into maybe he's a little high.
Well, that was one of the reasons I thought, what's going through your head? You're picking up a bunch of weeds and putting them in front of a camera. And that goes back to him being either ill-prepared or, again, not ready for the mission. If you're going to a place to, break in, possibly confront somebody inside. Now, along with that, confronting somebody inside, it's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. In most homes, residential dwellings, the chances of encountering someone inside are very, very high. That's when people sleep in their homes. Most burglaries, now I don't have statistics off the top of my head or on hand to back it up, but from my experience, most residential burglaries will occur oftentimes during daylight hours, because people go to work, they're not at home, they're running errands. So the chances are, especially if you case the place a little bit, do a little bit of homework and recon, which I do think there was some of that here. I don't believe this was a random house. I do believe this was targeted. Now, how much planning and recon and homework went into it? I believe there was some, at least, but maybe that changed when he got there. But back to the residential burglaries occurring, mostly during daytime hours or earlier evening. Now, they may occur if you do a little bit of scouting and you notice, there's a house where there doesn't appear somebody's on vacation, or the house looks a little unoccupied because, like I said, vacation or whatever. They may try to break in during nighttime hours to do that. But you'll see more business break-ins will occur during closed hours. So they're going to occur during nighttime hours as opposed to daytime hours when they're open. Regular burglars don't want to confront anyone, during the break-in. They're witnesses. And mostly they're mostly nonviolent. And if they do confront somebody, it may be a physical assault that will occur in their attempt to get away, and then leave the location. Uh, but
And physically, as you're talking, as you're speaking about it, we have her blood outside on the steps, so we do have a physical altercation. And this guy, he went into that house to get something. Okay.
Yes.
Now we're not hearing of anything again that's been taken out of there, but poor Nancy Guthrie. So and her blood's out on the steps, right? So I'm just wondering what exactly transpired and what he had to go through to get her to leave, to get her out of that house. And did he do it alone? That's another question we have. Who else? Is there somebody else? I always believed there was two people, but we'll wait and see. But that's the question, right? I mean, just what you're saying. I mean, they're going in there to take something, but most of the time when they're going in to rob, they're robbing when they don't think somebody's home most of the time, right? Or, in this case, they know one woman is home alone.
Right.
This guy knows something. He got information somewhere. There's a connection here. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I believe if this is a straight up burglary, which would in fact be considered robbery, because the dwelling is occupied, so that upgrades the offense from burglary to robbery. At least in Jersey, it would, and I do believe most states will have similar type of criminal charges to that effect. It is upgraded when there is when a place is occupied. That does up the ante a little bit for criminal charges. But
and then add kidnapping onto that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Well, and don't hold me to this. Kidnapping and abduction. That they can be interchangeable. I think technically there are some differences, but in essence they're the same. It's removing someone from in this case, their home against their will. So that would be the fact. The video. Like I said, there's more to this video than the public is seeing. How much more, I don't know, and it's quite remarkable how the FBI in this case was able to retrieve this through the help of, I believe Google or another private entity.
Miraculous.
It really is, and it goes to show, the capability and abilities that are out there when when you can access them. Now that can go to another place. I mean, these type of capabilities aren't unfortunately offered to every case, but that's another day. Good for them that they're getting this attention. Don't get me wrong, but sadly, it doesn't go for all of us or everyone.
Not for all of us.
But that's for another day. But after he would have ultimately removed that they call it a Nest doorbell. Most people are familiar, myself included, with the Ring style. Same thing, different name, I guess. But that was removed, and when I've seen close-ups of that, the removal of that unit, that doorbell unit, it looks like a clean removal almost. And I'd say that it doesn't look like there was prying of any type or maybe a smashing, because the later photos I've seen show the mounting bracket that the unit itself would have been attached to, and that looks to be intact, in pretty good shape. And right next to that is the outer metal door with a metal screen mesh, which you'll find in these types of homes in that region of the country. It's like a metal mesh screening type of thing with some iron type of design on it. It's a pretty sturdy door with right behind it a standard, I want to call a regular, either wood, metal door that you would find in other places. So it looks to be like a double type of door, side, one behind the other. And there was no sign of pry marks or anything to indicate forced entry. So I think it's possible that this guy could have given it a little shake. Is that it? Yeah.
Yes, you're looking at
Yeah.
what you're looking at.
Given it the handle a shake and found it was locked or something, and may not given it much effort more before he moved around the back of the house, where they in the earliest reports said that appeared to be the point of entry. They said that there was an open rear door. Now, it's undetermined and conflicting if there was forced entry or not in the rear of the house. Now, back to the earlier images of the video. I noticed that I didn't notice blood staining on the bricks on that little landing that were later seen in crime scene photos.
Good point. Good point.
So I think those, you would have been able to see them had they been there during that video. They which is an indication that at some point later, Nancy was moved toward that, since they did identify those blood drops as Nancy's. So that would seem to be the point of egress or exit from the home. And by the accounts, it appears there was entry through the rear. So after he was unsuccessful, possibly in the front, he moved to the rear, or there was a second person in the rear trying to gain entry. Now, I do believe. Now, this can go a couple ways. I do believe that there's more than one person. There is a vehicle involved here. Now, a vehicle. I do not notice a vehicle in that video. Now, you get a good portion of the driveway that you can see, at the end of the walkway from that front landing, I guess, that covered front landing where you see most of this guy is in the doorway there. That little front landing leads you to a almost like a gravel type walkway that leads to a 2-step drop that puts you at the driveway. Now, with this picture up, if you look straight ahead there and to the right where you see leads to the street. That portion of the driveway, there is no noticeable vehicle. Now, to the left of what we're looking at here would be the continuation of the driveway that goes in front of this walkway here and goes to the garage side of the house. So that's facing out toward the street from what would be the doorway here. To the left is the garage side of the house, and the driveway continues toward that area. Now, there could be a vehicle in that area. Now, I got a couple things here. Now, if this vehicle was brought to the scene and parked there, it is possible that more than one person, I'm saying two, but more than one person could be involved. And yeah, especially if he's bringing her out and she's in any kind of conscious state when he's bringing her out, somebody would have to be with her to get the vehicle to bring to the front. That's my leanings anyway, because also noticed, I did see photos that along that stretch of walkway from the front landing here to the driveway on this gravelish area walkway, it looks to be about maybe 4 feet wide. There are droplets of blood that were shown to the public that indicate, there was movement toward that direction from the porch. And I would think a waiting vehicle would have pulled up where this walkway ends, and she was put into a vehicle and taken from the scene. Now, that's what leads me to believe that someone else brought the vehicle up front, because somebody would have had to stay with her to control her or, keep her quiet while she's out there, because unless she was incapacitated or something more, and then carried to that point, and the one person brought the vehicle to the front. Because especially if you are carrying someone of her size, I'm not saying she's a big woman, but, and when I say dead weight, I don't mean totally mean a person has to be dead, but dead weight, heavy weight. It's tough to carry.
And he still has the bag.
Well, he still has the bag too. Unless he took that off, tossed it in the car, pulled the car up. Now that again is if somebody's not staying with her. And I believe if somebody wasn't staying with her, she was incapacitated or something else.
She had to be controlled in some way.
She had to be controlled, exactly. She had to be controlled, either controlled or, being steadied, on her feet. I can only imagine the horror and what she was going through at the time, if in fact she was conscious.
Can you imagine her waking up? Can you guys imagine her waking up, and the audience as well, and seeing this guy dressed up like this in her bedroom? I mean, you want to talk about horrifying. I don't know how she wouldn't die from a heart attack waking up seeing something like that in her bedroom. I mean, it's just incredible. Take a look at this guy. And I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Leah? As a female goes, as a woman goes?
Yeah. Well, I think that'd be terrifying if she didn't let him in, which I don't know what woman would, seeing a man like that. So
Mhm.
that would just be terrifying, you know. And she's already older, so like you said, who knows?
Sure, she's up there in age. She's sound asleep probably at that time of the morning, you know. Timmy, just circling back to the video camera outside and everything, right?
Right.
Why I believe this guy's a newbie or just not sophisticated or just stupid. Okay? Because he's got to know if he looked and he scoped the place out in any way, shape, or form, or got to believe there's some kind of camera there. Probably scoped outside doorbell camera there, whatever. Didn't think twice about it or something. I don't know, because you know what? He did not come, like you mentioned, prepared. He doesn't have like spray paint to spray over the camera to black it out. He doesn't have a cloth to drape over the camera. I mean, he's not prepared. He's looking for weeds. He's literally in the weeds, trying to get mix and match like he's a florist or something, trying to like decorate the camera, block it off or something. I mean, this is so unprofessional, you know, for somebody that's in this kind of business, right?
Which brings me back to some sort of being under the influence somehow, some way. I mean, that's not typical behavior for this type of a criminal. Not at all. Not that I've ever seen. Let me just say that. Not that I've ever seen or even heard of. Now, let's go back to the back of the house here. Now, it's been reported that there was damage to some floodlights, I'll call them, some sort of outdoor lighting, and then possibly the removal of or damage of another camera of some kind. You know, I don't know what type of damage it was. They didn't show too much. Well, they didn't show any. I think the images of that front porch area was taken and released by the media after the crime scene, unfortunately, was let go too early by the sheriff's office, which allowed the media to converge on the place and you know you know walk throughout the entire exterior of the scene. But that's another issue too.
Contamination, yeah.
Well, there's a lot of issues with that. But back to this, with this part of the case, going back to the rear of the house, there it was stated earlier that there was an open door. Now, at some point, I do believe they said that they believed that was the point of entry. There, from aerial images, yeah, there you go. That looks to be a door leading to the garage on the back side of the house, with the garage door, the lift doors for the garage are to the left of that, on the side of the house. Now this is facing the back of the house and is a standard type of 3-foot wide type of door, which really that's easy access right there, even if it was locked. Oftentimes you'll see these small panes of windows like this, that one of them will be smashed and all they do is reach inside and unlock it from the inside with those little panes. That's actually a common way for burglars, B&E people to enter dwellings, residential dwellings. Very common way. They pop those panes, either front door, back door. Now, many people once you get into a garage, you do have another doorway that leads to the main residential area. And that door, in many cases, people leave that unlocked. And that is another means into the house. Now, I did notice from this image here, there's what looks to be a covered patio area. Now, in those type of areas, you'll often find either a sliding door type of access, or you could find some other type of standard doorway access onto that covered. I'll call it a covered patio, and it could be that door. They didn't indicate which door in the rear was open. Now, when they say open, you know, there was some indication there was forced entry. Then they may have walked that back a little bit and just said an open door. Now, open has, two kind of meanings almost. Was it open in that the door itself was in an open position? I mean, where you can just walk in without turning the handle, or was it unlocked and accessible just by turning the handle without a key? Now, many people, myself included, will say, hey, the front door is open, just walk in, which meaning the door is unlocked, enter the house, as opposed to my door is swung wide open, just walk through the open door. So when people do use that term open, it has a slightly different meaning. One would be unlocked, or one would be technically open. So take that for what it's worth. But it does sound like that was the entry point, and the exit point does appear to be the front door, and that walkway leading up to the driveway. I do believe, as far as we know, that the blood trail stopped close to that driveway.
Folks, you're hearing it from Tim Braun. He's one of the best in the business. I've learned so much from him over the years. He's been a great teacher and mentor to me. And I've got to tell you, just listening to him, you have to appreciate how much he knows this stuff. And this is right on. This is the best you're going to get. I mean, he's telling you from personal experience over 25 years. Leah, what do you have to say about these various things that Timmy's gone over? Anything jumping out at you there? I know you might have a question or two now.
Yeah, no, I mean, Timmy, my gosh, you know so much. I want to pick your brain a little bit. Why do you think he was there so long? What do you think he was?
Well,
good question.
That is a very good question. Now that the mind can run a few different ways here, which also says, why was she removed from the house?
Mm-hmm.
Now, something happened. Something happened. Now, some of the thought was the whole ransom thing, which still could be in play here. I wouldn't rule that out. And, she was removed for some sort of ransom, potentially. Or there could have been something went wrong during the course of this entry, or that was part of the pre-planning, which I have leanings that if that was a potential reason or motive to enter, there could be a sexual component to that, which is, which would account for some of that time in the place, in the residence. Now, then you ask why, why remove her from the house?
Mhm.
Well, this is where, it, you think a little bit, why then take her? I mean, you were covered up, your face was covered up, your identity was covered up, but if there's a sexual component, there may be other evidence left behind. DNA. DNA on or inside a potential sexual assault victim. Now, if this person has been around the block or may have experience in that area, he may know enough to, hey, no, if you leave a body or if you leave a person behind with evidence on or inside them, that'll get you caught. That'll get you caught. And it could be, of course, anything's possible. There, if there's a sexual component here, and this guy is clumsy as he may have seemed getting into the house, may be smart enough to know how to cover his butt, which would tend to tell you that he has experience in that area, maybe another area. He's removing the evidence from the scene. So that's potential. That could be a potential reason. I did hear some people say, well, maybe she was removed from the house to bring her to an ATM and force her to give the password. There's been no indication publicly to indicate that that type of scenario took place, or if there are two people there, this has happened before, where one person will stay with your victim at a house. You make the victim give up the password, and another person will run out to the ATM and go ahead and withdraw. But here again, if that in fact was the intent, where's the video from the ATM machine? If anybody made an attempt with her to go to an ATM, there would have been a transaction of some sort at an ATM somewhere, and all ATMs that I'm aware of have some sort of surveillance either built into the machine itself or nearby to watch that machine. And I would feel safe to say that if that scenario took place, there would be images out there of some sort, even earlier than this one. So that I tend to put that aside at this point, and unfortunately leaning towards maybe now something more sinister happen. And yeah. And if there's only one person behind, she may have been incapacitated or worse and removed from the scene to leave no evidence.
Not for nothing, but we have to talk about the white elephant in the room too, or we're not really being honest. No body, no murder charge, right?
Not necessarily, but yes. Not necessarily. I've had a no-body homicide.
Okay. All right.
And it was successful, but
good.
under way different circumstances.
Okay.
That's not common, but it does happen. And I'll leave it at that.
So, and that's good to know, because the bottom line is, you know, this guy seems like so worried about, you know, what he looks like walking up to the house and everything, and how protective he is with his hands and his body, and the way he's covered over. He hasn't paid a lot of attention to the video. So I think he's like very ultra concerned, if you will, about his DNA, right? That leads me to believe he's probably in the system, which can lead me to believe he's got priors, you know, probably for burglary or sex offenses, right? I mean, what do you say, Leah?
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you, John, maybe you can answer this. Do you think he isn't already some sort of serial offender of anything, or could he be one? I don't know.
He could be one, and he could be on his way, because I'm going to tell you, right from the beginning, we have said this is targeted, and it's targeted because this is Savannah Guthrie's mother. Okay? All right. What if it isn't about Savannah Guthrie's mother? What if it is some kind of sexual offender? Okay? And he's interested in breaking into houses and going after elderly women for whatever reason, or women in general. Okay. In the beginning, they said, we feel there's no, that it's targeted, and, people don't have to worry. You know, the population doesn't have to really worry about it. Okay. If this is not about Savannah Guthrie, and it's not about any kind of ransom or vengeance or something like that, or the Guthrie family, if it's not about them, if this was just, here's this house, I heard the woman in here has some money or something, or I heard the woman lives alone in this house and she's got some handicaps, so she'd be an easy mark. If it's something like that, you're probably going to have another one. I mean, because if it has anything to do with a sex offender at all, you're probably going to have another one, because these guys cannot control the urge, and it is really a horrendous addiction. If in fact it is that, we don't know. All we know is he took her for a reason.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
You find the why, it's a good chance you find the who.
Find the why, you find the who. There it is.
Find the why, find the who.
Yeah.
And sorry about that. With distributing to the public. Now, in this case, or these types of cases in particular, where you suspect that the offender has a prior criminal history or criminal involvement, besides the general public, I would start spreading these images to the correctional facilities, to the COs, even the inmates. Takes one to know one.
You better believe it, yeah.
Takes one to know one, and somebody knows these people, knows this guy. And, somebody on the inside looking to shave a little bit of time off their time, and a $50,000 reward on top of it, a get out of jail card would turn this guy in a second. The same goes for, I'm leaning toward this guy being from that region, that broad area of that Tucson. Now, how wide you open up that circumference, stretch it out some. Uh, I'd get these deputies, police officers, vice, narcotics out on the streets, showing these photos, any images they can, and any others that will get developed to your local drug dealers, your gangbangers, your CIs, everybody, all that criminal element somebody will know this guy. Somebody will know this guy. Besides, outside the general public, those are areas I would hit pretty hard. Um, it, to get that out. But just with the images here, without the enhancements, there's enough there. If somebody knows him, they'll recognize him from from these images. The guy last night, apparently, that was picked up. They interviewed him this morning on the news, and you can see some similarity. Now you're going to get a few likely that there may be some lookalikes or similarities in other people who aren't your target, as was this morning. But another thing here too, for people to understand, especially now that these images are out in the public, you look for somebody. If this guy's employed, look for somebody with some recent absenteeism from their job. Didn't show up the day or two after the job, or maybe hasn't been back since this happened. Look for somebody who maybe is shaving facial hair, since the image shows at least a mustache. Some are saying also a beard. I didn't pick that up, but somebody who is shaving their facial hair, or has recently shaven facial hair. Why are you doing that? And now the vehicle. I do believe a vehicle is here, whether it's operated by a second party or not. I might be looking for stolen vehicles, rental vehicles, possibly a business vehicle. Oftentimes, these burglars will use the stolen vehicle. So if they have to flee, or they don't want their personal vehicle to be linked to them. If a witness happens to catch a license plate, if the cops pull up and you're inside, you're able to sneak out the back and flee on foot. They're not going to link them to by the vehicle. It'll be a stolen vehicle. So those are things I'd be looking for. Stolen vehicles prior to the incident. I'd be looking hard at those. Maybe the 2 weeks leading up to it, and then recovered stolen vehicles afterwards. And those are things I'd still be looking at. This is a hot vehicle, no matter if you believe it was spotted or not. You're not going to likely dump your own vehicle because you never know if you've been spotted or not, by camera or not. So you're going to dump a hot vehicle or a vehicle not associated to you. So.
Yeah, Leah, what else do you have?
Look here. I think I hit everything I wanted to ask you guys about.
Mm-hmm.
Timmy, you made a good point there. I like that you pulled up some things that people, law enforcement, everybody should be looking out for. So, but that's what I have for you guys. So, John, anything else you got?
Yeah, I mean, Timmy gave us a seminar, folks. You just had a complete seminar on this type of robber, sex offender. I mean, you've got it from Timmy Braun. You just got a major seminar or workshop, or however you want to look at it. You have been educated on these types of guys, and their MOs, and how they handle themselves. Thanks, Timmy. I mean, it really informative and good as always. Timmy, what about if somebody wants to get a hold of you? Do you have a link we can put up, or do you want to tell us exactly? And Leo put a link up for you.
Sure. But I do want to say something. With all
Sure.
that said, with all that we talked about, you know what? This could go in a totally different direction, in a split second. So, it's just another person's, you know, opinion that could take a turn as soon as we hang up the phone here, and something will pop up. And of course, the law enforcement, the FBI, the sheriffs, and all those involved are sitting on a ton more information than we know. So, like I said, with all that said, that I shared, I still have no idea what happened. So, just another opinion by another person. But
Not just another person. You had 25
yeah.
years experience, and you're known all across the country.
Well, yeah, that'll buy me lunch. So,
I'll buy you lunch for people.
but
Never mind that.
yeah, but back to your question. I do consulting and train law enforcement training for homicide investigation. I do offer my services, my experience to law enforcement and families of and victims. It's not always a death investigation. I do other type of consulting, and namely within the healthcare environment. And so should a loved one be the victim of a violent crime in healthcare, and you hit a dead end, with healthcare, within the healthcare environment, the healthcare system, and you feel your loved one or has been the victim of a violent crime, I offer my experience on, well, providing direction on which way to turn, which way to go, because there's a lot within the healthcare system, not just hospitals, nursing homes, assisted living, mental health facilities. There's a lot of issues within that environment that there's not good things happening there sometimes. Suspicious death, physical and sexual assault is an occurrence that happens more than it should be, and it gets covered up within the healthcare system itself. So I'm here to offer my experience should you need it, and I think I just saw you link me up, so that was my website, and I can be contacted through that. So.
Excellent. I want to ask you, are you ready to buy your wife Lori dinner if her tip on the gloves pay off? I mean, come on, she might have the tip. That might be the tip that turns this whole case around.
Well, again, like I said, it could be, it may not be. But I was kind of, it definitely made me look, because I couldn't figure that one out when, after first seeing it and hearing these other commentators say that. And I'm not saying it is that, but boy, it sure shares similar characteristics. That's for sure. And plus, yes, my wife and I are going to dinner because Valentine's Day is coming.
Excellent. Yeah, excellent.
So
Yeah, those big, thick gloves. I mean, I got to tell you, they are prominent, and they are. There's a reason. There's a reason he has those.
yeah,
He could have had purchased any other type of gloves.
Sure.
Those. There's a reason he has those.
definitely. So
All right, go Lori. All right. So, is there anything else we want to go over today? Tomorrow's another day, and like you mentioned, Timmy, there's a lot of working angles here. There's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see what tomorrow brings, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
All righty. Well, listen, I'm really honored having both of you on. Timmy, you're a special guest. We truly appreciate you. We appreciate your knowledge and experience. Second to none. I can't say enough about you, about your work ethic, and about your professionalism and experience. I can't, really. And I thank you for all I've learned, and being a good teacher and a really good mentor. With that said, folks, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Stay on your toes out there. We live in a very dangerous world. Most importantly, keep a focus on yourself and take care of yourself. And until we meet again, God bless. And thank you all.
thank you, John.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Leah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, John.
Bye. Thank you.